And now we have the man of the hour here, a man who need no introduction. Founder, CEO, CTO of a multi-million company ePlane, founder and head of NCCRD, helping students booming multiple startups, and the advisor of Avishkar Hyperloop, Tutor and GHC. Please welcome SR Chakravarthy sir. Welcome to the podcast of GHC sir, the Hyperloop Impact. I just want to know that you have multiple professional commitments, your research, your startups, and along with that, multiple students are under your guidance. How do you manage all these professional commitments of yours?
Where there's a will, there's a way. If you like what you're doing, you'll find time.
Yeah, but still, sir, each of the commitments have their own various problem set and a unique problem set. So how do you tackle each of them separately?
First of all, you need to prioritize what's the most important thing for you over a period of time. Next thing is you have to actually prioritize on a given day what's important. Done behind. And each of the things actually you can find things that are common across a lot of them, right? So, for example, if you take multiple startups, they all start with an idea, then they form a team, they grow the idea, they make POCs, and then all this stuff, right? So then they have raise funds, then they have to got some early revenues. So there are multiple stages. PhD students are actually not very different, by the way, right? And then doing research projects for people like DRDO or any, let's say the GE or somebody, that's also kind of like a startup. You have to go put out a proposal, they will have to buy the story, and they got to give the money, and you have to start spending, maybe hire people to work on that and all those things. So each of them actually pretty much has the same phase, same set of phases. I think the challenge that you're talking about that I may be facing is these different things will actually be in different phases of their respective journeys. And if I'm now jumping from this meeting on one thing that's in actually an advanced phase of something, and then going back to something that's actually in an early phase, I have to suddenly switch gears. Yeah, but you need to have that presence of mind all the time.
True. That would be very hectic for you, sir, I believe. So, I believe the one of the biggest names that we can relate to a Hyperloop community is yours, sir. So, you were there for the Avishkar Hyperloop from the point Suyash Bhaiya founded it to the point GS is founded. So we believe that you are the most important member and the oldest member of Avishkar and the Hyperloop community of IIT Madras. So
Oldest is the right one.
So, how do you feel that how the Hyperloop sphere of IIT Madras has grown over the years? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is out and out a student effort, and I'm fortunate that students still think that I should be the advisor. So, I mean, they are free to choose, and I hope I'm actually doing a good job. Many times it's actually so difficult to work with me, but still, despite that, I don't know what's taking for them. I have only a few things that I impose on them. One is we need to actually do better in the next year than the previous year with some kind of a continuity. Second, we should actually be marching towards scalability and commercialization. So these are the technologies that we should be developing that could be applied at full scale. So these are things that I actually want to insist on. But how they exactly would do it, I leave it to them. I don't really tell them exactly what to do. But I also actually have had tough moments. We have been in the glare of the nation. We have got like a huge railways project. I am responsible for delivering on it at the end of the day. We wanted to actually run the competition. We wanted to work on the tube. lots of things that may not be exactly the same as what is required for that year's competition, and so on. But the students have actually been exceptions. They have actually picked up things that I wanted them to do, and so on, which if they are not done, I can't do anything about it.
That wouldn't be possible without your leadership, sir. So, coming about the Avishkar Hyperloop, we all know that Suyash Bhaiya has founded Avishkar 1.0. So, I just want to know the story, how you both met, how this Avishkar 1.0 with you as a faculty advisor come to a reality.
No, I mean, I want to call out something. Suyash is actually the founder of Avishkar, not 1.0 and all. Okay. Okay, yeah, please.
No, I think I would love to hear your version of the story that, if you remember or not, like how it started, like how did we meet?
I might not have. But so I think for the record, Avishkar was already 1 year old before I, got into it, right? So I think 2017 is when this gentleman sitting next to me dreamed of doing Hyperloop in India. So I think the full credit goes to him. And I think he talked to his classmate, what's his name here?
Ankit
Tukadia,
Kukadia.
right. So sorry. I don't know if that will get recorded.
No, we'll change it.
So yeah, I think both of them were actually classmates, right?
Yeah.
And in aerospace, so they were working on it, and then they collected a bunch of students and stuff. I mean, that's actually pretty pioneering and pretty entrepreneurial in that sense, right? So they came to me only at the end of 1 year. After they had actually even gone on I think you probably went on a recce to SpaceX the first time, and then you came back and said, we have the option of working on different propulsion systems. And I think they came to me, and then I took them to my colleague Murgi, where we thought that we'd actually do some gas dynamics related propulsion, right in the tube. And we thought of actually guiding them on two different aspects of it. One of them on the propulsion side, the other one is on the going inside the tube. And in fact, by the end of the year, we were thinking that we will actually set up a tube near the wall, even then, right?
In 1.2, sir.
I mean, at that time, actually, we didn't have these numbers like 1.2. So they were making the pod, but they also actually had to finish their MTech project.
Yeah.
So it was more like starting on an MTech project guidance rather than with Avishkar itself. That's how we started this. But I think, I don't know why he came to me. That's a question that you can ask him, right? Because he had the choice of going to a lot of other people. So we started actually talking about Hyperloop as such. Then there was a third guy, some Vinay Sharma or something.
Vinit Sharma. Yeah.
Right, I think he was also a classmate. So I don't think we actually did a MTech guidance for him, but he was part of Hyperloop. So along with him, I think he actually continued to work with us. I think Suyash was also had gone back to TCS, right?
Yeah.
And he was still in Chennai. He was wanting to continue to work on this and stuff. And that's when, so my attitude is always, am I actually wasting my time on something fancy, or is there some substance to the whole, right? So I was actually pushing these guys, at least to the extent I know, on the commercial viability of Hyperloop in the Indian context. So we started working on numbers. So Vibhor might think that he's the one who actually worked on numbers, but even before we got to Vibhor, I had to be convinced that it makes sense to actually work on this. Right? So every generation has actually contributed to some amount of business development. Not business development in getting sponsorships and all. Business development in trying to showcase that Hyperloop as a technology is viable, useful, and important to India. And that's something that these guys started working on.
So, what is your part of the story, Bhaiya? How you met Satya Sir?
So one of your PhD students, we were having some dosas at IRCTC in those days. Suprabha. And he told me that you own 74 startups.
What?
Yeah. Trust me on this. He told me you own 74 startups. You have 74 startups. I'm like, okay, this is some crazy guy.
Wow.
I should definitely go and talk to him. If he has 74, he can definitely do 75th as well. So he got me convinced, and and he was a Gujju guy, and one of my friends was also Gujju. Okay, now this makes a lot of sense. So I thought, I asked him if he can set up a meeting with Prof. So that's how we got connected. And the first meeting was pretty much just before we were going to SpaceX, and I wanted to align my MTech work with the Hyperloop. As I said, right, more than aerospace engineering, I did my MTech in Hyperloop engineering overall. So that made a lot of Hyperloop is aerospace. Yeah, so that was pretty much, and I think we pretty much aligned on every aspect. I really enjoyed the tube near the wall. That design is pretty much there. Everything was calculated, done, designed, simulated. But of course, the better things had to happen, so it happened. But yeah, really enjoyable. I enjoyed his mentorship. The best part is probably it's it has a soft boundary. Where to poke and where not to poke. He gives you your own space, and which is also we enjoy, in an overall mentorship of him.
Yeah, that means that they can do all the screw up and then come to me and say, hey,
So your past experience as a collaboration give the gift of the Hyperloop Sphere to IITM. I'm also wondering that Satya Sir is involved in Agnikul, which is the rocket building technology and startup, and and you are involved with the GalaxEye, which is a satellite-based company. So can
I'm also part of it.
okay, okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So can we expect the collaboration future between Agnikul and GalaxEye?
I just answered. I'm part of both.
I mean, between the companies, sir.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's Agnikul, there's GalaxEye for me. Yeah, if they don't talk to each other, I'm doing something wrong.
So I don't know whether this is allowed to disclose in the public context or not, but the first of their engines, we were trying to put on the Hyperloop.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Correct.
Yeah, we want to hear that story.
No, so basically, we one of their when they were designing their rocket engine, the first engine we were trying to put one of them on the Hyperloop pod to do a tube testing near
Yeah,
the wall.
that was one of the MTech projects.
That
right?
was exactly
That was
what
your
I did.
MTech project. Absolutely. Correct.
That was my MTech project,
Yeah.
essentially. So yeah, it is definitely bound to happen. Of course, we need.
So that said, okay, so each of these companies is independent. Okay, they have a very high chance of collaboration, but each company has to actually fend for itself. They have to do what's good for them. So there is a zero interference policy that we have.
Got it, sir. Last question from my side. So, what is the one key core value that you both wants to give to the general student of India so that he or she can build their own Hyperloop team in their respective colleges? So, what are your core values that made this Hyperloop community in IITM a reality?
I think he's the best guy to answer that question.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little repeatable from the last, last session that we did. But yeah, again, as I said, right, we need to look at Enthu more than the talent in the beginning, and at the same time, we need to be a little more innovative around getting things done. So execution is the key, and that's where the Enthu becomes more important than the talent. So you can always be a little more suboptimal, but execution is really important.
We would also like to have your opinion, sir, because as a professor point of view, as an administration point of view, what is the key values that you find in a enthusiast person that make you commit to that team? Or
So So I used to adopt this approach with my PhD students. So when the student comes and sits in front of me for the first time, I'll tell him what he needs to do for the next 8 years. Sorry, 4 years. and he will diligently write down, saying that, first semester I'll do this, second semester I'll do this, the summer between I'll do this, blah blah blah, all kinds of things. It may or may not happen. But when he leaves the room that day, he does not know that what I have asked him to do is something that he can't do. Right? If you knew that, he wouldn't be there. Okay? And if I was not asking him to do something that he can't do, there will be nothing new that comes out. And this is actually the gift of the next generation. They don't know that something can't be done. That ignorance is actually what we need to exploit. We should basically say, don't bother about anything that's impossible. Right? Just dare to venture out and dream big, dive into it. What Avishkar has actually shown, and maybe to a very small extent, I may be a contributor, is the ability to continue, right? The journey, and then expand on it and improve on it further and further, right? So, for example, I was telling him, can you believe that we actually are doing the 400-meter tube? Yeah. He said, I can't believe it, but I know that it will happen someday. Right? So that is perseverance of several generations of students. And if that can be achieved, right? If like someone like Suyash sows the seeds and the seed grows into a tree, right? Year on year on year, it's fantastic. That's what we should be looking for.
That's great insight, sir. I hope students of India will be motivated by your thoughts.
Students of the world.
Yeah, true, sir. So we will end this podcast with a rapid fire round. So here are some of the rapid fire rounds for you, sir. So, which is more fun, student life or a professor life?
Student life.
Which of your startups has the greatest potential according to you?
E-plane.
Choose one out of these four: satellite versus Hyperloop versus rocket versus E-plane.
Satellite.
Best head and ear of Avishkar Hyperloop until now.
Pass.
Your most memorable.
Pretty much everybody is good.
Your most memorable interaction with Avishkar team till date.
Every moment is memorable. Sorry, this is difficult to answer that question too. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I should actually say specifically, rapid fire or not, among all the things that I do, I like talking to the Avishkar students. Right, so those are moments that I enjoy thoroughly when compared to anything else. So.
How many times you were angry during the Avishkar Hyperloop discussions in the last 7 years?
Never.
One time. I got beaten up almost.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Can you share that story?
I think if you remember Ravi Santana.
No, we have been through tough times with the teams, right? But never really angry about.
No, you were angry just on me.
Okay.
So Ravi Santanam sir was there. He came for the very first meeting, and I was little bullish on the electric propulsion, and you were bullish on the rocket propulsion. And
okay.
You were pretty angry that we were not following what you're saying for that time.
I see. Okay.
So that was the first and last time I saw him. A little.
Yeah, because see, actually back then we had no clue what Hyperloop was all about. To be honest with you, right? I was actually getting into it completely blindsided.
Any words for the GHC team, sir? Like, what are the expectations that you are making for the Global Hyperloop competition team?
No, it's on you. I say share mine.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, I'm actually super excited for this because this has been part of my dream. I've always been saying that we are doing far better than most of the places in the world, and we have to capitalize on this. We have to put India on the global Hyperloop map, and one way of doing that is to actually hold a global competition and bring people from around the world to come over here and talk about how progressive we are, showcase that, and so on. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. There's a great opportunity for IIT Madras. It's a great opportunity for India. Yeah, I think we are doing something path-breaking with GHC.
We will make it a reality, sir.
Thank you.